Here are 5 breakout running backs that I think will exceed expectations in 2023 and help people win championships. Let's start with J.K. Dobbins. It's easy to forget that J.K. Dobbins was an elite prospect coming out of college, had 2,000 rushing yards and 21 touchdowns his junior year of college. He was drafted in the 2nd round. He ran a 4.37 on his pro day. This guy was elite coming out of college. He's also been elite so far in the NFL. Over his 226 NFL carries, he's averaging 5.9 yards per carry. As a rookie down the stretch, he averaged 85 yards per game rushing and had 6 touchdowns in his last 5 games. Also, over the last 5 games last year, he averaged over 100 yards per game and scored 2 more touchdowns. And if all that's not enough, according to Pro Football Focus, the Ravens offensive line ranks 4th headed into this year. I said last year, don't draft J.K. Dobbins. He's coming off a major knee injury. 2023 will be the year to draft J.K. Dobbins. It's 2023. It's the year to draft him. He should now be fully healthy, 2 years recovered from the ACL, behind one of the best offensive lines. This is a guy who has home run speed, is an elite talent. He should have a monster year this year, massive touchdown upside, massive yardage upside. Take J.K. Dobbins every chance you can. Now, another running back who's yet to break out really due to injury is Cam Akers. He was also a very highly touted prospect, a 2nd-round draft pick as well, so this is a guy who we know has the talent. And he showed flashes as a rookie. In his last 5 games, he went over 80 yards in 4 of those games and scored 2 touchdowns. Unfortunately, heading into his 2nd year, had that brutal Achilles injury. He did come back at the end of the year, but wasn't even close to the same. And I would say even last year, for most of the year, he wasn't close to the same. But we did see down the stretch him getting closer and closer to 100%. In the last 4 games last year, he had at least 100 yards in every single game. He also played at least 72% of the snaps in those games and had 19 or more carries in 3 of them. He was an absolute workhorse, and there's no reason to think that's going to change in 2023. All the Rams did this year was draft 6th-round draft pick Zach Evans, who's fine. He's a good change of pace, kind of backup running back, but that's all he really is. And then they have Kyron Williams, who they drafted last year, who could barely sniff the field. Akers should absolutely continue to dominate this backfield and be an absolute workhorse running back this year, and he's routinely going in round 7, sometimes even 8 in fantasy drafts. Grab him every chance you can. This will finally be the Cam Akers breakout. Another highly touted rookie running back, well, by me at least, was Rachaad White last year, but he was drafted in the 3rd round, and for good reasons. He profiled as a 3-down back. He had the size at 214 pounds. He also had an 87th percentile college dominator, so we knew he could handle the work, and he had a 98th percentile college target share, so we knew he could catch passes. Unfortunately, he just could never pull away from Leonard Fournette last year, and also, I gotta be honest, he really wasn't very good when it came to his efficiency. He did technically become the starter in Week 10 and continued to get more work than Leonard Fournette, and we did see what he was capable of in that Week 12 game that Leonard Fournette missed, when he caught 9 passes and had almost 20 fantasy points without scoring a touchdown. And he survived the NFL draft as well, as the Bucs did not draft a running back. All they did was sign undrafted Sean Tucker, who isn't really anything special, is just kind of a plotter in my opinion. White should be an absolute workhorse in this offense. Now, the offense may not be great. He may not have massive touchdown potential, but he has a clear path to massive touches, and for running backs, you want to chase the touches. And one positive for him, because we know he's such a good pass catcher, is his QB, Baker Mayfield. Most people look at Baker Mayfield and groan, but Baker Mayfield actually led all quarterbacks in checkdown rate last year. That's a great sign for a running back like Rachaad White, who's probably going to make most of his living catching passes. Rachaad White is a guy who can easily go over 50, 60, 70 receptions this year, and if he does that in PPR leagues, he's going to be an absolute steal where he's going right now. All right, I got 2 more running backs, but before we get to those guys, I got a big announcement. Introducing Draft Lane, the ultimate app for every fantasy football enthusiast. Take a trip down memory lane with our unique league history feature, giving you a comprehensive view of all your past leagues. Challenge yourself by comparing your historical performance against your league mates. Climb up the ranks and strive for the top spot in the Draft Lane rankings. Connect directly with Pierre and myself to receive answers to all your burning fantasy questions. Experience the ultimate draft companion. We can tell you exactly who to pick when you're on the clock to help you draft that winning roster. During the season, rely on Draft Lane to help you set winning lineups, make strategic waiver pickups, and even get personalized trade advice, all through our user-friendly app. Download Draft Lane for free on the App Store or Google Play for Android phones today. And here's an exclusive offer.
Be one of the first 10 people to sign up using promo code FANTASYEG1 and we will put $10 in your account. Don't wait. Join the fantasy football revolution with DraftLane. Download now and start dominating your league.
All right, next up is Isaiah Pacheco, who had a ton of hype in the preseason last year, was getting a lot of camp buzz. Obviously started slow. Clyde Edwards-Helaire actually came out of the gate hot, but he finished strong, and you got to feel really good about Pacheco going into year 2. From week 10 on, he had 80 or more yards in 9 of his 12 games, and he scored 5 touchdowns. This is a guy who has tremendous speed and has the size to be a workhorse running back. If there's a worry here, it's the pass catching. In those last 12 games, 8 times he had 0 or only 1 catch. And unlike Baker Mayfield, Mahomes ranked 3rd to last in checkdown percentage. So even though he's not going to give us much in the pass catching, he does benefit in other ways. First of all, he saw 6 or fewer defenders in the box on over half of his carries last year. And on those carries, he averaged over 6 yards per carry. Defenses can't worry about the run when Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback. He should face a ton of light boxes once again this year. Another benefit is he's going to get a lot of touches in the red zone with chances to score. He had 31 red zone touches last year, which is right around guys like Ramondre Stevenson, Aaron Jones, and David Montgomery. And that was with him playing only 39% of the snaps. If he's getting over 50% of the snaps this year, that number is going to climb a ton, and he could be one of the leaders in red zone touches. The Chiefs are never going to be a team that's going to rely heavily on the running game, and his lack of pass catching is certainly going to cap his ceiling to some degree, but he's going to be a hyper-efficient runner. He's got home run speed, and he's going to get plenty of touches near the goal line, so touchdowns should be there. And then finally, let's talk about our one rookie on this list. No, not Bijan Robinson. He's going to smash and destroy fantasy football this year. I'm talking about Jahmyr Gibbs. It wasn't really surprising that he was a second running back drafted. It was more surprising about how high he was drafted as a second running back, as the Lions invested their early first-round pick in Jahmyr Gibbs. And there are certainly worries about Gibbs. His size makes you wonder, can he actually be a workhorse running back? Not to mention they signed David Montgomery, and they're paying him pretty good money by running back standards. But I think there's a good comparison we can make for Jahmyr Gibbs here, and that is Christian McCaffrey's rookie year in 2017. If you were around then, you know the Panthers already had Jonathan Stewart, a bigger between the tackles type of back, and Christian McCaffrey was a relatively undersized back as well at only 202 pounds. So what did we see from Christian McCaffrey that year? Well, he averaged 14.3 PPR points per game, which is pretty good, but he only handled 117 carries. Not really what we want to see, but he caught 80 passes. I think that could be Jahmyr Gibbs this year because we know Jahmyr Gibbs is a phenomenal pass catcher, and I really think the Lions used that high of a draft pick on him because they have plans for him to be a pass-catching running back. He's probably not going to get more than 115, 120 carries, similar to McCaffrey that year, but if he gives you 80 catches like McCaffrey did, for a guy that's typically going to get picked in rounds 4 or 5 of your drafts, I think that would be fantastic. No, he's probably not going to smash this year, but you'll take 14 fantasy points a week and 80 receptions from your RB2, maybe even your RB3 based on how you draft. So I think Gibbs has a mini breakout this year for teams who draft him. All right, so those are 5 breakout running backs, but what about 5 late round running back sleepers? Check them out right here.